Well, it's time now for Flashback, a recap of stories that made headlines during the week. And we begin on Monday, where the secretariat of the Action People's Congress in Rivers State was attacked with improvised explosive devices by suspected political thugs. In a reaction to the incident, the party called for the arrest and prosecution of those responsible for the explosion.
In the early hours of the morning, unidentified persons allegedly threw dynamite into the building, causing some damage to property. The APP came into the spotlight shortly after a date for the local government election was announced. There are speculations that some of Governor Siminalayi Fubara's supporters in the People's Democratic Party were planning to join the APP to enable them contest the council polls. For the party's leadership, this is a failed attempt by a faction of the PDP to intimidate the APP.
These uncivilized acts of people who think that they are reservoirs of violence, who think that they are reservoirs of knowledge, who think that Rivers State must control whatever they want or whatever they interact. We have come to change the narrative.
We condemn these acts. We call upon Mr. President, we call upon the heads of security agencies to go after these people who are behind this criminality.
The APP sees the attack as a confirmation that it is in a strong position to emerge the big winner of the local government election scheduled for the 5th of October.
They are getting the signal of Rivers people joining our party in preparation for the forthcoming local government election. And they want to undermine this good policy of the amiable governor of Rivers State, who wants to conduct local government election.
Our supporters are not in any way deterred. The truth of the matter is that PDP is emptied.
The police says its bomb disposal unit has taken charge of the area to prevent further threats to lives and property.
I quickly sent in our officers in here yesterday because anywhere there is explosion, there is likely to be a second one. So usually we move people away from that, and that is what my team succeeded in doing.
According to the police, investigation has commenced to unravel the identities of the assailants.
Well, on that same day, the reinstated Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, announced his resumption to office. Mr. Shaibu said his return to his position as Deputy Governor is a testament to the divine grace and steadfast prayers of all Nigerians. The Deputy Governor, in a statement, issued a clear directive to all staff within his office to resume their duties.
In recent weeks, the Federal High Court in Abuja reinstated me as the Deputy Governor of Edo State, acknowledging the illegality of the impeachment. Upon my arrival in Benue, a tragic event occurred as an assassination attempt was made on my life. Thankfully, the bullet missed its mark. Unfortunately, hit an armed policeman assigned to the APC gubernatorial candidate for the upcoming September 21st election in Edo State. In line with the judgment, the office of the Deputy Governor was never vacant. In this regard, all transactions that would have been done in my absence remain illegal, null and void, and of no effect whatsoever. Nevertheless, I want to reassure my dear people of Edo State that I am back in my role as the Deputy Governor of Edo State, ready to perform my duties, fulfill my responsibilities, and deliver on the promises of democracy.
Well, in a swift reaction, the Commissioner for Communication and Orientation in Edo State, Osane Ikare, said Philip Shaibu's action is a clear case of impersonation. He emphasized that Philip Shaibu is not the Deputy Governor of Edo State, and every correspondence from him in that regard should be disregarded and considered a forgery. Well, let's flash back to Tuesday at the presidential villa in Abuja, where President Bola Tinubu got a vote of confidence from the National Council of State. The council comprises all former heads of state alive, the 36 state governors, and the Minister of the FCT, among others. The council also condemned any call for unconstitutional change of power in the country.
The first Council of State meeting convened by President Bola Tinubu in the life of his administration. Also the first time former President Muhammadu Buhari will return to the council chambers of the presidential villa, where he once sat to preside over crucial matters of the country. But beyond the roll call of members that constitute the Council of States, critical matters that portray the state of the nation were discussed. The council condemned the violence that marred last week's nationwide protests. They also commended Nigerians for resisting the manipulations of some elements pushing for unconstitutional regime change.
After the NSA's briefing, generally he allayed everybody's fears and spoke on the tightness of the security around the country, and also reassured all and sundry that nobody will be allowed to truncate our hard-earned democracy.
Overall, President Bola Tinubu got thumbs up from the Council of State. His reforms and policies, though yet to fully manifest, are being implemented in the interests of Nigerians.
There was an executive session between members of the Nigerian Governors Forum and Mr. President, and frank and fruitful discussions were held between both parties, and I'm glad to say we're on the right track. The
coordinating minister of the economy reported an optimistic economic outlook, but pointed out President Bola Tinubu's dissatisfaction with the high inflation.
In broad terms, the economy is growing. The balance of payments, in particular, the trade balance and the current account balance, are in surplus. The exchange rate is stabilizing, and inflation, though high, uncomfortably high for the liking of Mr. President and his team, it is slowing and it is set to fall.
The governors later met privately with President Bola Tinubu on the sidelines of the Council of State meeting to discuss some undisclosed issues. The last time the Council of State meeting was held was in February last year, in the build-up to the general election.
Well, on Wednesday, Speaker of the House of Representatives and the sponsor of the controversial counter-subversion bill, Abbas Tajuddin, announced withdrawal of the bill. Abbas Tajuddin said the decision followed extensive consultations with a broad range of key players. The Speaker also mentioned that the withdrawal was in response to voices and concerns of the people. The bill, which already passed first reading, sought to provide a 10-year jail term and/or 5 million naira fine for anyone who refuses to sing the national anthem at public events. It also sought to penalize anyone who destroys a national symbol or place of worship, and anyone who sets up an illegal roadblock, performs unauthorized traffic duties, among others. Well, on that same day, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission called for the establishment of a special court dedicated to prosecuting cases of crude oil theft in Nigeria. Well, the Commission's Director of Investigation, Abdukarim Chukol, made a proposal during an investigative hearing at the National Assembly.
The Special House Committee on Oil Theft and Laws continues its probe, considering all dimensions of oil theft and losses in the oil and gas sector in Nigeria. The committee focuses its lens on the role and operations of the Niger Delta Development Commission, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and the Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency in tackling this persistent economic sabotage.
We are not considering.
Nigeria's anti-graft agency, EFCC, in its presentation, says the high number of oil theft-related cases has heightened the necessity for the establishment of a special court. It also says an amendment to the legal framework governing the commission would significantly enhance the agency's capacity to combat crude oil theft.
If we do have special courts, but not just specifically to issues of oil theft, but more broadly to the things that we do in terms of economic and financial crimes, this would also go a long way in assisting at the work that we do.
However,
now, the World Health Organization on Wednesday declared Mpox as an epidemic. It was the second time in 3 years that the World Health Organization would designate an Mpox epidemic as a global emergency. Since the beginning of this year, the Democratic Republic of Congo alone reported more than 14,000 Mpox cases and more than 500 deaths. The most at risk include women and children under 15. The WHO said it intends to prompt member countries to begin preparing for virus appearance and to share vaccines, treatments, and other key resources with poorer nations. Well, let's flash back to Thursday at the 106th meeting of the National Judicial Council, where the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwoola, will be retiring on the 22nd. Will be retiring on the 22nd of August, recommended Justice Kudirat to President Bola Tinubu for appointment as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. And we took a look at the process of nominating of a new CJN.
It is a common saying in law that there must not be a vacuum. As one Chief Justice of Nigeria leaves, another is recommended and nominated. Justice Olukayode Ariwoola was born on 22nd August 1954. On 22nd November 2011, he was appointed to the bench of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. He was appointed Substantive Chief Justice of Nigeria on 27th July 2022, following the resignation of Chief Justice Tanko Mohammed, as he then was, and formally confirmed Chief Justice by the Nigerian Senate on 21st September 2022. The Federal Judicial Service Commission will nominate 2 names to the National Judicial Council for recommendation to the President. The names will be placed under priority and reserved. The priority will be the name of the second person in line, while the reserved will be the third person in line. The most preferred candidate is placed under priority, and if there is a reason why such a candidate cannot be recommended, the reserved candidate will then be considered. In this case, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun is the second in line among the justices of the Supreme Court to succeed Justice Olukayode Ariwoola. Her name will be placed on priority, while the third in line, Justice Iyan John Okoro, will be placed on reserved. The committee responsible for screening and recommendation of judges is chaired by the second in line. In this instance, Justice Kekereekun, being the second in line, cannot chair the committee that will oversee her screening. The chairmanship position moves to the third in line. Justice Iyan John Okoro, who will also be screened, cannot also chair the committee, as he is a reserved candidate. The chairmanship position then goes to the third in line, which is Justice Uwani Musa Abaji. If this age-long tradition is followed, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun will become the next Chief Justice of Nigeria and the second female Chief Justice Nigeria will have after Justice Aluma Mariam Mutar.
Well, also on Thursday, President Bola Tinubu was hosted to a dinner at the People's Palace in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea. It was part of his 3-day official visit to the Central African country. Well, at the event, the president implored African leaders to make more strategic and deliberate efforts in addressing the exodus of skills and talent from Africa. The president said development in Africa will begin where the continent starts to look inward for solutions. In his remarks, the president of Equatorial Guinea thanked President Tinubu for honoring his invitation and called for more collaboration and solidarity between both countries. And let's take you back to Friday in Benue State, where a gunman kidnapped more than 20 medical students and a house officer. The victims, reportedly from University of Maiduguri and University of Jos, were traveling together when the attack occurred around 5:30 p.m. in the Otukpo area of the state. They were on their way to the Federation of Catholic Medical and Dental Students annual convention in Enugu State when they were ambushed by gunmen. A spokesman for the Benue Police Command, SP Catherine Anene, confirmed the incident to TVC News, and she said an investigation has been launched into the abduction. Well, in a related development, Dr. Ganiat Popola, a doctor who was kidnapped several months ago in Kaduna State, is still in captivity. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors on Friday threatened to embark on a strike if their abducted colleague isn't released by August 26th. Colleagues of the abducted doctor in Kaduna also called for her unconditional release. And with that, it's a wrap on the news at 10, which also featured Flashback, a recap of stories that made headlines during the week. For more updates on the stories we are monitoring, you can visit our website, tvcnews.tv. You can also follow us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and on X at TVC News NG. On YouTube, we're live at TVC News Nigeria. Many thanks for watching, and on behalf of the team, have a pleasant night rest. Good night.